All right, guys. Alex here at Elevate a Lifestyle Lab podcast, bringing you another episode here. Got my co-host George Richatelli back in the house. How we doing, George?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just getting off the holiday weekend for the 4th of July. How was your weekend?
It was great. Spent some time with family and hung out by the pool and relaxed a little bit. And it was
Did,
nice weekend.
yeah, you did the big lobster cook, right? How
Yeah,
did it go
yeah,
this year?
lobsters and clams. It was really good. We had a little bit smaller because of COVID and everything,
Sure.
but we still had a good time.
Yeah.
And it was nice. We had some good weather and
Did you do fireworks?
shot off. Yep, we shot off some fireworks and hung out by the pool. Got some sun and.
Nobody blew off a finger?
No, we were lucky this year. No
Yeah.
accidents.
What'd you do with the dogs? Our dog, I mean, every dog freaks out, but what'd you do?
Well, as you know, we have three of them.
I know.
So we put them in three separate bedrooms, closed the blinds, and turned on the TVs,
Yep.
and just tried to make it as normal as possible for them.
Yeah.
And only one of our dogs is really scared of the fireworks. The other two are kind of like oblivious. They sit there and
Like
they're just
whatever.
they look around like, what's that? But we have Coco, who she tries to protect us from the fireworks or from
Yeah.
any loud noises whatsoever.
Yeah, they're super loud.
Yeah.
The same thing. We put our dog in the bathroom, put the rain noise on we have for the kids, turn the TV all the way up, and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
It's tough with the dogs.
Yeah, some dogs are, I guess, more scared of it than others, but
Yeah.
yeah, we made it through and they were all fine. So
Nice. Yeah, it's
It was
weird
good.
times with everything shut down. The beach is shut down right now with all the shit going on.
well, I can honestly say I think that the fireworks sales to the general public were like probably 10 times what they usually are.
For sure. They were
Like,
talking about it, right?
My neighborhood was crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, just
once it
crazy.
got dark and you get out, you could hear it from every direction, right?
It was almost like everybody was trying to battle each other and who had the better fireworks show.
Right.
And like I saw something. I can't remember whose site it was on, but I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
He had a picture of a helicopter flying over Los Angeles and showing like all the fireworks. They said that basically the mayor tried to shut down all public events for the 4th of July,
Right.
and the people didn't listen. And it was like there was all kinds of like mortars going up all over the place. It was like a fireworks show on each street.
That's
So
cool.
it was a pretty cool view from the
Yeah,
helicopter.
from sky view, it looks really cool.
So
Really cool. All right. Well, I wanted to do a podcast today because I started doing this fundraiser. I wanted to tell people a little bit more about it. I've posted about it. I got some flyers made for it. I've talked about it on my social media, but I wanted to just have more of a conversation with it. Fill people in on what it is because some people just don't even understand what a 6-day race is.
or they think you're absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's mostly everybody. Once they hear this, they're like, man, what's going on? So just to catch everybody up, so I'm going to do a fundraiser this November 18th. It's in order to raise money for families in need for Thanksgiving. So I teamed up with a local charity here. It's Feeding South Florida. So in order to reach my goal of feeding 500,000 people on the week of Thanksgiving, I'm going to set a goal of raising $70,000. In order to do that, I'm going to run a race, which is the week before Thanksgiving. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It's called the Icarus Ultra Fest. There's several different heats of the race. You can do a 6-day race, a 3-day race, a 2-day race, a 24-hour race, and a 12-hour race. So I did the 24-hour race last year. I really enjoyed the race. It's around a 0.8-mile loop dog track or dog park in Fort Lauderdale. So I am going to try to run for the full 6 days, 144 hours, in order to raise $70,000 to feed 500,000 people for families in need the week of Thanksgiving.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, that is a lot. That's a lot of running. Now, you were saying that you're going to try and run 16 hours a day?
Yeah, so the game. So when I did the race last year, I did the 24-hour version. I was talking with the guy that did the 6-day portion last year. As he was running around, I was able to chat with him a little bit, and it seemed like he had a good game plan. He ran for 16 hours of the day. Then he would take an hour to eat and shower and rest, and then sleep for 5 to 6 hours, and then take an hour when you wake back up to stretch, eat, and get back out there. So basically, run for 16. Sleep for 6, and the other 2, put some food and shower off all the yuck.
And you're going to do this for 6 days straight.
6 days straight.
Wow.
Not gonna
Now,
stop.
now, obviously, even the most advanced runners can't just jump into something like this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what your training's like and what you're doing and how you're going about it, where the advice you're getting from, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, with this is new territory for me. I started doing ultra running last year when I got inspired to start doing all these races. When started listening to a lot of David Goggins and Cam Hanes, so I got on the ultra running trail as of last year and did just my own training. So last year, so I would just run 20, 30, 40 miles a week, do some weight training, and kind of winged it last year. But for this, I definitely wanted to hire a coach because it's unless I'm gonna, try to walk across the finish line on some crutches, I would like to be prepared for this the correct way. So what I did is I kind of searched and thought about all the different endurance racers that I know of that would also offer a coaching program. And I would say I picked probably one of the best in the business for endurance running would be the guy called the Iron Cowboy. His name's James Lawrence. He completed 50 Ironmans in 50 days in 50 states with an RV with 5 kids. I always think the 5 kids is more of a harder task than the other portions. But, if anybody's going to know how to do a multiple day race, it's somebody that did 50 Ironmans in 50 states in 50 days. So he has a coaching program. So I hired him, and part of his team is his pacer, Aaron, which is my first contact for coaching. So I've been with them for a couple weeks now. It's been about 3 weeks of training. So it's a little bit different training than I'm used to than like lifting weights and
Sure.
traditionally like getting stronger because I'm more lifting heavy. I'm traditionally used to going to the gym and you work out hard as fuck for like 2 or 3 hours. You're sore as hell and you just push through it and your muscles feel like they're gonna rip off the next day, and that's kind of what it's all about. And it's completely different when I kind of dive into the ultra realm of training for running because you don't necessarily want to rip apart your muscles like that and then go try to run a marathon.
No, you need to train for longevity, I
Yeah.
guess.
So it's what I found is it's just laying a foundation, kind of layer by layer. So we're starting off 25, 30 miles a week right now. Some of them are some days are different than others as far as just an easy run for an hour, or I'm doing interval training. Today I had hill training, so that's kind of mixed into the mix there. But I think we have 19 weeks until the event, so it's just kind of laying a foundation week by week. So you just kind of crank it up, just turning a hair each week. You step up the mileage each week, the hours. Maybe an hour added each week. I'm doing 6 hours a week now. You turn it up an hour a week, up for 19 more weeks. It gets pretty intense.
Yeah, can imagine.
So my goal to, based on my slight experience of doing these, I did the 24-hour run last year. I got 83 miles when I ran it, and I was destroyed. So I'm gonna base off if I come back and I'm in shape, if I could average between 60 and 80 a day, right around 400 for the week, I'd be stoked for that. That'd be
That would be
awesome.
pretty impressive.
That'd be
I mean, to
cool.
do it 6 days straight, that's quite an accomplishment.
It was funny that the 2 weeks ago when I first hired the coach that I got done with my first week of training. I remember thinking Sundays are my day off, and I'm like, oh, it's my day off. Let me look at my next week, and I started thinking, I'm like, so I just did 6 days of my first training, and I started thinking of what all took place in those 6 days, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna be running like this whole time. All the stuff I did, like for that week, to replace that with running in
Yeah,
the same spot in the same circle.
times 10.
It's gonna be intense.
But it is all for a great cause. I mean, you really are pushing yourself and putting yourself out there to help a lot of people.
Yeah, man. I had
And
the idea last year because with all the running I was doing and all the races I was doing, I've thought of different ways to try to help and give back and support, and especially I've noticed in the longer races I did last year, you hit a point also where if you're just doing it for like let me see if I can do it, that's only gonna get you so far in a race, and then at that point you're gonna be like, fuck this, I'm gonna go back and do something else. So
yeah,
I also feel like putting an urgency on the event itself and putting it more for a good cause, not just for myself to push it personally, but actually be able to help some people on the flip side. I think I was thinking of different ways to do it. I was thinking of different strategies of different races, and last year came to the conclusion I was going to do like this 12-month long adventure, do a race each month. Same concept, raise money for families on Thanksgiving, but with all the COVID going on, it's just kind of weird times right now. So I was watching the news when this COVID started a couple months ago, and it was kind of not a wake up call because I've always heard the issues of people needing food in the area, especially with kids, and Obviously, the homeless problem. But with all this going on and all the schools shut down, they were making it very apparent on the news. They were letting everyone know that's all the kids that were getting meals at the food. A lot of these kids don't have an alternative to get food at home during the day.
Yeah, so when the schools cafeterias closed, they were kind of out of luck. They didn't have they couldn't afford it, or they
Sure,
didn't have the ability
to
to
eat at
get the
home.
meals. So
I mean, that's shitty, man. That's
it
so
really
shitty.
is. That's
And
awful.
it's it's an ongoing problem. It's been going on for forever and ever. So I was just trying to think of different ways I could give back. So anyways, I was watching the news. They were talking about that, and they ran a commercial for the charity that I had teamed up with, Feeding South Florida, and they were advertising a 7-year-old girl up just north of us in Port St. Lucie. She was able to raise enough money to feed or provide groceries for up around 3 or 4 thousand families. And I was sitting there, and I just, it really just hit me. Like, this 7-year-old girl was able to feed like 4,000 people, like a 7-year-old. Like, her network of people can't be that big. I know a lot of people, man. So it really, I think shortly after that, I I really made the commitment, reached out to the charity, and pulled the trigger, made it happen. But she was a little bit of spark in the. So if she ever hears this, she inspired me to
Yeah,
inspire
that's
others. So that's what it's really all about.
well.
It's,
I think that's a great point. Is I think what you're doing is going to inspire other people to. I mean, if you're making this much of an effort to help these people, and maybe not everybody can run for 6 days straight,
sure.
but they can certainly help out in other ways. They can help feed families. They can go and help serve food. They can do other things in other ways, make other types of donations, whether it's time or it's money or whatever the case is. And I think with all the kind of divisiveness in the world today, like something like this is really refreshing
Yeah.
because you're kind of just reaching out, no matter who you are. Everybody needs help. I mean, whether I don't care who you are, at some point in your life, everybody needs help,
Sure.
and this is just a way that you can kind of do it, and other people can get involved and follow in your footsteps and do the same type of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I just want to make it aware too that it's just a lot of people think it's harder. It's hard to help other people. Like, they don't have the funds or the means or the time to help to reach out to people. But it's really a wake up call for me, because it was so easy. I just started this about 10 days ago. It's very grateful. Already raised like $1,600. Was able to. That's already enough money for 11,000 families on Thanksgiving, and I haven't even done anything. I've made a flyer and I've talked to a few people. So people are dying to help out when they can, and I hope I inspire other people to realize, like, it's like you said, you don't have to run a race. You don't have to do a physical thing. People, when I was actually searching for this girl that inspired me on Google, and several other 7-year-olds must have been doing the same thing. And one 7-year-old had a virtual lemonade stand that raised $25,000.
Hmm.
I'm like, it's like, it's awesome, man. Like, you just do what you can with what you got. But you don't
Well,
have to do something
well, I think
physical.
one thing that by doing whether it's the 7 year olds or you or anybody else, I think you're you're taking the steps to do it. A lot of people just they want to help and they want to do things, they just don't know how to get involved or what to do. Therefore, they just kind of goes by the wayside. But when you like kind of put this out there to everybody, or the 7 year olds or the 10 year olds or whoever else is doing this in the world, when they can take a personal interest in it and know somebody that's doing it, makes it a lot easier for them to get involved. And it's not that people probably don't want to get involved. A lot of times it's that they don't know how to,
Sure.
and they like. I mean, you hear about all these charities that like you're gonna donate to somebody, and then that charity only ends up getting like 5% of your whole donation. So
Sure.
people are like apprehensive about that.
Yep.
So like through this, I mean, everything you donate goes towards the feeding the families.
Yeah, man.
So it's really a great opportunity for people to get involved. So
Yeah, it's great that I had looked at a few different options as far as who I could use to provide the meals for the families, because there's a lot of people that do this around Thanksgiving. There's a lot of churches that do it, a lot of pastors that try to do this for a lot of the local people. And when I saw the commercial for the girl, that the 7-year-old, I then looked up the charity, and they do such a remarkable job with really making the dollar stretch. For every dollar I raise, it's able to provide 7 meals for people. So I mean, that's huge. It's like what is that? 18 cents per meal. So
mhm.
it really goes a long way. It's not like $5 per family. It's really, $10 donation can help 70 people. Man, that's
And
great. It's great.
I think it's important to note also that this is not just a fundraiser for Thanksgiving. This is a fun because there's people who are there's people that are hungry at the holidays, but that's where it's mostly publicized. But there's people that are hungry all year long.
Yeah.
Especially like you said with the kids, it's such a shame. Like when you see like or you hear about kids that they just don't have food to eat
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
The
So
numbers are scary, man.
if it can help people all year long, which I mean, if you raise what you're talking about raising, I would imagine they'll be able to spread that beyond just Thanksgiving
Sure. Yeah.
and help feed families moving forward as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they really got a good thing going on. Right now they're doing a lot of the COVID, helping with the problem with the food right now. So they've been doing a lot of food drives. Right now, for the Thanksgiving they actually cook the food, but for right now they're doing actual food drives where they have big 18-wheelers where they get all the food from the food kitchens and from a lot of these produce farmers and stuff that they're having a difficult time moving food, especially with this COVID. So they're doing a lot of that, pushing for that. So they're staying, like you said, it's a constant need for it. And when you look on their site, they give you all the numbers. Even on the flyer I made, it gives you a lot of the statistics. It's like 1 in 5 kids doesn't know where their next meal is going to come from.
yeah,
It's like holy shit.
that's really a scary
man.
thing.
It's crazy. And having kids myself, I mean, anybody can relate, but just having kids, knowing that like if my kids, if he doesn't have breakfast or sucks, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of the is one of the ways I was able to figure out and run this campaign, and so I reached out to Feeding South Florida. We got the campaign started. Still early in the trail, but I wanted to do this podcast so I could kind of let people know what's up.
Well, it's good to get the word out early because anybody that wants to get involved can get involved. If they want to help, whether it's helping Alex with the race, whether it's a donation, or even anything, any type of sponsorship or anything like that for his race.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the money goes to charity.
Yep.
All the money will go to help feed the kids and the families who need it.
Absolutely.
And so it's a great opportunity for people who don't know what to do to get involved.
Yeah.
And you don't have to necessarily know how to do anything or just be willing. That's all.
Sure. That's it, man. I'll put the link in the show notes too as well, where people can find it, and it takes you right to the charity. So it's not like I'm collecting money and I'm going to give it to them at a later date. It goes directly into the charity. It's it's a tax write-off, so it's legit charity. So anything that you can do to help it definitely stretch a long way, man. It goes help a bunch.
And if you see Alex running down the road or over one of the bridges or one of those training, beep the horn.
Yeah,
let him know you're behind him.
For sure, man. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of training coming up. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to keep you guys posted. I'm going to do some podcasts on the way, leading up to it, because it's going to. I'm assuming training's going to get pretty intense. It's going to be probably back to back marathon days. It's going to.
You're gonna see Alex out there in all our new elevated lifestyle gear.
Oh, that's the next, man.
So you'll notice him out there. Anybody's interested in any of that, let us know. Reach out to us, and we'll tell you how to get it.
Yeah, that's coming soon, man. That was the next thing I was going to lead into, but we don't have anything out to show yet, but we do have that in the works. We are getting some gear made up, some with our podcast logo, Elevated Lifestyle Lab, and then also geared towards the race itself. We're going to have some cool shirts drawn up, my 6-day journey. So any of those proceeds are going to go directly to that charity event as well. We'll keep you updated on that more often, but we are going to get some merch, which I'm super excited about. So I can some of the running merch too. It'll be cool.
Yeah,
have my logo on there. It'll be nice, man.
And we'll update you on the location of the race and the timing of the race and everything like that. So if anybody wants to come out and support them,
yeah, I'm gonna need some pacers. I'm gonna need some ice bath people. I'm gonna need a masseuse,
a whole team,
chiropractor. I got my buddy Steve coming down to crack me a few times while I'm down there. So yeah, I need anybody wants to come and donate some fresh hot meals, some spaghetti, some anything. It all helps, man. It all helps.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna need a massage therapist down there too.
I'm gonna need a bunch. I'm gonna need like one of those massaging chairs. I'm gonna have to put it right down there, just sleep in that thing, man.
Maybe we can get Wim Hof to bring his ice bath down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that when I'm there. Wim Hof breathing, ice bath, sleep. That'll be the routine.
There you go. That'll get you fresh the next day.
Yeah, for sure.
So
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate it. I'm going to include all the links and everything in the show notes for everything you need to do to find the charity. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. That way, you're updated every time we release a new podcast. And again, guys, please go like us on our social media, share with a friend, and I appreciate it, guys. Have a great day. Thanks, George.
Thanks.